What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. And of course, it's been trending because we all know black women can pretend all day that they don't, but they hate to see a black man with a white woman. Even if that black man happens to be a boy, in this case, LeBron James' son, Bronny James, was trending for taking Peyton, a white girl, to his prom. All right, now, I'm going to break this down on a level I haven't seen anyone break it down, because I have a theory that I'm going to go ahead and put out here as to why it seems that when black men and white women particularly get together, there's almost always so much vitriol in comparison to any other type of interracial relationship, including when black women and white men get together. All right, I'm going to really break this down. So get y'all popcorn ready, because I haven't heard anyone break it down the way I'm about to break it down. And get out your feelings, because everything I'm about to say is going to be backed up with statistical evidence, data, and support. I am not talking out my ass with this theory that I'm about to lay down to y'all, all right? So get your popcorn ready, because it's going to be a little bit lengthy, but it's going to be good information in this, because we're going to really get to the bottom of this. Because this is a conversation that's tired, and it keeps happening, and it keeps happening because no one wants to get to the root of what the real problem with this is, all right? So before we even get into what causes this, or the deeper issue that lie in between when black men and white women get together, and why America hates when black men and white women get together, and they do hate it, and I'm going to back that up, let's go back to Bronny James and Peyton. Because we have an issue where we have not only black women being concerned about the business of a black man that ain't they man, ain't they child, isn't their business, but Bronny isn't even a full adult. Bronny just graduated high school. I repeat, he just graduated high school. So if it wasn't already annoying enough that black women were concerned with who he was dating when he's not their responsibility or concern and he doesn't even know them, it makes it an air of creepiness that they're worried about who a kid is dating on top of that. I don't want y'all saying, no one cared about that. That's a lie. It was trending all over Instagram. It was trending all over Twitter. And ironically, someone asked the question. They said, well, not only is Bronny James not your problem, but he's a kid. I'm trying to understand why grown-ass black women are triggered and attacking a child because he chose to take a white woman on a date to the prom. And a black woman said, and I quote, okay, I'm going to read it right off here. It's not that we have a problem with Bronny taking a white girl to the prom. It's the fact that Bronny said he would never date a white woman. Now, I'm sorry. She said it's the fact that Bronny said he would never date a black woman. Now, I scoured the internet, y'all, looking for a statement where Bronny James ever said that he would never date a black woman. And that statement does not exist. I could not find anywhere where Bronny ever quoted, tweeted, or said, I won't date black women. I don't like black women. I have any type of problem with black women in any way, shape, or form. This is a tired-ass argument that black women always use, and they never substantiate it with anything. That's why throughout this video, I'm going to be hitting y'all with evidence, because I get tired of people, especially women, just running their damn mouths about how they feel and their perceptions backed up by nothing. Bron never said that. The problem is whenever you show up with a white woman, because black women have terribly low self-esteem, they automatically feel like you did that because you don't like black women and you think white women are better. When no one said such a thing. They did the same thing to Michael B. Jordan. He never said that. They do the same thing to athletes. Oh, y'all athletes, they always dating white women. They don't ever date black women, which is a lie. I have a whole video on this channel where I broke that down. There's plenty of athletes who date black women. As a matter of fact, the majority of black athletes do date black women. But y'all choose to focus in on the ones who don't. LeBron James, black wife. Steph Curry, black wife. Chris Paul, black wife. Carmelo Anthony had a black wife. Didn't necessarily treat her right, but that's not the point of this conversation. That's not the point of this conversation, all right? Jordan Love, black wife. I could go on and on for days. This is just off the top of my head. All right? Shannon Sharp had a black wife at one point. Y'all don't even know, without looking it up, y'all don't even know who has white wives. You would have to look it up. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. Devin Witherspoon, he's not married yet, but his girlfriend was black. But y'all hone in on the ones who aren't dating black girls. Just like y'all honing in on Bronny James right now for taking this white girl to the prom. Now, let me explain something. First of all, Bronny James is a rich kid. All right? So, Bronny James being a rich kid, on top of that being from California, which if you've never been to California, everyone is racially ambiguous in California. There's not really pro-black or really even pro-white in California. Everyone's mixed with something. One of the reasons California women are so beautiful is because everyone in California is mixed with something. It's like a melting pot. You get all these exotic flavors of women. No one's pure. So get that out of your head. A lot of y'all grow up in towns where it's just straight white people or it's just straight black people. You go to California, it is a melting pot. Everyone's dating everybody. So they don't really play that there. But going past that, again, Bronny is a rich kid. First of all, y'all keep trying to say Peyton, his white girlfriend, is using him for money. How can Peyton be using him for money? She goes to Sierra Canyon. Let me explain something to you guys. If you go to Sierra Canyon, you have money. The tuition there is anywhere from like $30,000 to like $70,000 a year. She got money. She has a big following on social media and stuff. She's okay. The reason Bronny is dating her has a lot to do with the fact that he goes to Sierra Canyon and he's a rich kid. The reality of the situation is, especially in California, there are not that many thriving, successful black people for him to have that many options of black people to date. How many black women do y'all even think go to Sierra Canyon? Have y'all even thought about any of this? That don't play sports? How many? He's overloaded with white girls. Not to mention, not only is he overloaded with white girls, those white girls are going to be throwing themselves at Bronny James. They're not going to be playing hard to get. They're not going to be thinking that he's corny, like y'all say about Michael B. Jordan and various others. They're going to be throwing themselves at Bronny James. Y'all also have to consider this. Now, this is the beginning of getting deep, but this is just the start. We're going to get way deeper. You also have to consider the fact that black women in the suburbs generally view white men higher than black women. Let that breathe, run it back. Black women from the suburbs generally view white men higher than black men, right? So they start off just thinking, I'm going to get me a white boy. The white boy has a longer money, older money. He's got more social status. I'm going to get me a white boy, right? So most of the time, the black men actually start off liking black women, but one, they can't find them because there ain't that many in the suburbs, and two, the ones they do find, if they don't think they're corny, they don't like black men. Now, all the time while this is happening, the white women are throwing themselves at them because the white women know that these black dudes have the BBC, put that together because I can't say it on YouTube, and because these black guys are in their social economic environment, rather that be their school or their suburbs, they know that they have money. See, white women always have and always had, even if you go back to the slavery days, an affinity for black men. So if you put white women in an environment where they see a black man there and they know he's on the same socioeconomic status as them, oh, it's up. They're throwing themselves at that man. So why compete for the few black women there who probably gonna think you're corny and probably don't even like black men when you have a constant stream of white women throwing themselves at you? I know this. Black men from the suburbs will tell you this. I've been to the suburbs and experienced this. If you're in that environment, white women will throw themselves at you. Because now they know either you got money or your family has money and you got the BBC. So you're the prize. So this is how most black men end up with white women in the first place. Because the white women be choosing, the black women don't, and they're surrounded by white women who are choosing. Now here's what happens with the black women. I want you guys to understand. The black women start off wanting the white men. Statistically speaking, and this is a fact, not my opinion. This is going to be the first time I refer to my statistics, all right? Because we really going to cook this one up. I ain't playing with y'all today. All marriages in the country, moreover in the United States Census data, most exogamous outside of the social group marriages between these two racial groups occur between black men and white women. I repeat, most exogamous outside the social group marriages between these two racial groups, being black and white, occur between black men and white women than between white men and black women. So don't tell me you making that. Y'all don't get, it ain't like that. Yes, it is. Black men and white women are a lot more likely to get together than black women and white men are. That is a fact. Do not argue with me, argue with your mama, argue with the professors. All right, now this is gonna become important later on because I'm telling y'all we really about to cook up in this video. Keep up with me, all right? So, with that being said, what happens with the suburban black girls is they think the black dudes are corny, especially because a lot of the suburban black girls grow up in families where being black isn't necessarily looked at as cool, and they might not necessarily be cultured. Not all, of course, but a lot of them. So in their head, if they're going to be with a black man, they want to be with the super thug black man. All right? If you're a black man, you're not a super thug or at least an athlete, you're going to be corny to them 9 out of 10 times. All right? So they're just going to go ahead and date the white boy. But this is what happens. White men will have fun with black women. They'll smash them. They might even date them for a little bit. But they're not going to marry you, and they're not going to share their wealth with you, especially if you're in the high-class suburbs. We're keeping it on the high-class suburbs mostly for this conversation because that's what Bronny and Peyton are. They're high-class suburbs. All right, this is why this couple shouldn't even be hated on. A lot of y'all don't even understand what you're talking about, right? So what happens is, after black women realize this, eventually it kicks in. All right, they keep dating these white boys, and then eventually they get called the N-word. Race play comes into it. All right, and if it ain't the damn boy that they're dating doing it, they meet the family and the family starts doing it. You're a fat black N-word. All right, I know you're not taking this fat black N-word serious. All this other extra stuff. When they realize, all right, I'm not going to be able to get anything serious to work out with these suburban white boys, then they decide to go and date black men. But referring to what I said to earlier, they don't decide to date the corny black men. They go straight to the athletes and the thugs. They'll literally go to the hood to find the thugs, which results in them still getting ran through. Because the thug's going to run through them and not take them serious. And the athlete's going to run through them and not take them serious. Hopefully the thug doesn't knock them up. If they're lucky and the thug doesn't knock them up, which a lot of the times if she's a suburban black girl, she's not going to be goofy enough to get knocked up, then she'll finally decide, okay, I'm going to date these regular suburban black guys, or these corny, educated lames, as they call them, black guys. Now, here's the thing. Here is the thing. And this is why I tell black men to be careful with dating black women who used to date white men. Because you got to realize, she started off liking white men. Then she went to athletes and thugs. All right, which all girls do have a bad boy phase, but I'm just pointing this out to you. By the time she gets to you, all right, regular, educated, suburban black kid who's not an athlete or a thug or white, she's exhausted basically all her options. You're her last choice. So what does happen a lot of times, if you end up dating these black women, and they'll play it off at first, a lot of times by the time they get to you, they all fake pro-black and fight the power, and I can't stand these white men. And what they're not telling you is that they can't stand white men, not because of the atrocities of the past, and not because they're really pro-black, but because they've already been ran through, disrespected, race played, and violated by these white men. So now they really don't like them. But they think if they act pro-black, it'll ingratiate them to you. But because in their head, you're literally their last choice, they're never going to treat you like they treated those white dudes. See, you'll see a black woman with a white man, and she'll just be as submissive and as feminine and as nurturing and as caring as possible. But then all of a sudden, she'll get with your ass, and she's neck popping and twisting. Even if she's suburban, she feel like she can get a little bit more attitude and buck. And I don't got to do what you say. I don't got to listen to you. Solely because in her head, she settled for you, and you should be happy that she's there. Whole time, she don't know all these white women been just being submissive and nurturing and caring to you this whole damn time because you got the socioeconomic proof and you got the BBC. But she don't know that. So she thinks she going to get with you and treat you any kind of way. And she going to get a rude awakening when it doesn't go down that way. Then they get more bitter and they get more upset. This is why I tell a lot of black men, like, if you're going to date a suburban black girl, I would date a suburban black girl who's always been into black men. All right, that doesn't mean she couldn't have never dated a white dude before, but if she was ever primarily into white dudes, and you can trace that, I'm telling you right now, be careful with that, because chances are she's still primarily into white dudes. She just can't get one, and she's probably not going to treat you the way she treated them, because she really don't respect you, and she never wanted to be with you in the first place, versus dating a suburban black woman who always had an affinity for and was primarily looking for and seeking out black men. All right, now, why did I say that this couple is the most hated couple in America? The black man and the white woman, right? Alex, you don't know that. How do you know that? Somebody timestamp this for me because we about to go in. I want to read this study to you guys, all right? And the study says, and I quote, right for her. In survey experiments, participants evaluated couples based only on pictures of them holding hands, with skin colors but not faces visible. A white woman with a black man was evaluated more negatively than the reverse. In fact, the white woman was the only individual in these pairings whose perceived social status was affected at all by the skin color of her partners. Let that breathe. Run it back. In survey experiments, participants evaluated couples based only on pictures of them holding hands, with skin colors but not faces visible. A white woman with a black man was evaluated more negatively than the reverse, which means more negatively than with a white man with a black woman. In fact, the white woman was the only individual in these pairings whose perceived social status was affected negatively or at all by the skin color of her partner. Meaning white women take a social hit. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. For dating black men. White men do not take a social hit for dating black women. Now, some of this is sexism, 100%. But it's also because white men do not like to see their women with black men. White men have the same disgust for interracial relationships that black women do. They just don't vitriol it and spread it all online. They do it behind closed doors in a catty way, whispering in Sarah's ear. Sarah, do you really like Lil Lanash like that? Do you really like Tyrone that much? They can't stand the thought of their daughter receiving the BBC. Because they know when their daughter gets that BBC, if that black man's on the same socioeconomic status than her, he's not going back. She's not going back. There's a reason why the saying goes, once you go black, you don't go back. That was about white women, because they don't. And to be honest with you, you will find a lot of rich white women who even get stuck on thugs. I remember one time I had a client who had just got out of prison. Really, my client was his wife, but either way, he just got out of prison. And he had a Dodge Charger. A 2020. I said, damn, how you get that fast? You're not even working yet. He said, my wife brought it for me. He had a white lawyer wife who brought him a 2020 Dodge Charger and had it waiting for him as soon as he got out of prison. This woman was damn near a millionaire. This dude was a thug, fresh out, living with her, and she was taking care of him. Why do you think that was? The BBC. I'm just keeping it real with you guys. The hell with all the other talk. Ain't nobody else keeping it real like this. On the tube, I ain't seen it. The BBC, make them go crazy, stigmatized, whatever you want to call it. It's whatchamacallit. Anyways, let's continue. Likewise, in a nationally representative survey, white parents were more opposed to the notion of interracial marriage in their families when a higher proportion of their children were female, even controlling for political ideology. Let that breathe, run it back. Likewise, as a nationally representative survey, white parents were more opposed to the notion of interracial marriage in their families when a higher proportion of their children were female, even controlling for political ideology. Which means that even if you guys have the same political agenda, right? You're both conservative or you're both liberal or whatever. If a white parents have daughters, they do not want to see their daughters getting the BBC. Why? Because once you go black, you never go back. Now, we're going to get even deeper than this. Keep rocking with me, guys. Keep rocking with me, because some of y'all might be like, oh, that's BS, Alex. Oh, that's BS, you know. You cherry picking stats. That's just from one website. Okay, peep this. Peep this. Peep this. Today, 87% of Americans, this is a different survey, by the way, this is a different study. Today, 87% of Americans say they approve marriages between black and white people. However, the responses change dramatically when they are asked more directly about how they feel if one of their close relatives wants to marry outside their race. Results from our recent research show that more than half, 54% of blacks are in favor of their close relative marrying a white person. The result is lower for whites, among whom only 1 in 4 said that they're in favor of their close relative marrying a black person. So when you dig deeper, you come to realize interracial relations, specifically between black and white, are still unfavorable in the United States. Now watch where y'all get this. Watch where y'all get this. Second, there are some individual characteristics that make some people less supportive of black-white marriage, with specific effects for each race. For example, white men are the most opposed to their close relatives marrying a black person. So now you know why 54% of black people were okay with this, but only 26% of white people. Because, let that breathe, run it back. There are some individual characteristics that make some people less supportive of black-white marriage, with special effects for each race. For example, white men are the most opposed to their close relatives marrying a black person. So the only reason it's not 50% like it is on the black side is because white men are openly opposed to this. Like I said to you guys earlier, they don't like it any more than black women like it. But they're not running around running their mouths and spilling their feelings about it, because they're men and they're holding it in, and they're attacking in different ways by whispering in ears and doing a little backstabbing petty stuff behind the back. Now, the next question is, well, Alex, why is this? Why do black women hate to see black men with white women? Why do white men clearly hate to see black men with white women? Simple. Because there's an unwritten clause. All right? Somebody timestamp this for me because we about to cook. There's an unwritten clause or a social contract between black women and white men that's been in effect since going way back to the slavery days. All right? Going way back to the 17, 18, 1900s. And what that contract is white men are supposed to be granted access to black women in exchange for giving benefits, freebies, and money to black women. White men have access to marry a black woman, so should they choose, they are not going to the majority of the time, as I already showed you guys, but should they choose to, they have that access as well. But in exchange for the fact that most of the time they're just going to use them as a fetish, they agree to offer them extra benefits and resources to allow themselves to be used as a fetish. What black women are supposed to be able to do is have access to these white men's resources through their bodies, and then be able to take those resources to be ahead of the black man who they can then control, with said resources and advantages they got from offering themselves to white men. Now we're about to go even deeper than that. Well, Alex, where did you see this take place? Again, this goes all the way back to the slavery days. The house Negroes. What did the house Negroes get? Were they still treated badly? Yep. But were they treated as badly as the Negroes in the field? No. They had better meals. They had cleaner corridors. They had their own room. They had nicer clothes. Now, these were usually fairer-skinned black people, but there were a couple of darker-skinned black people where they were beautiful enough in that house too. But what did they give up in exchange for these amenities? Their body. Oftentimes being abused and attacked by the white women, because the white women would know that those fair-skinned children that the house Negroes birthed was actually usually the slave master's kids. They were sweeping under the rug, but everybody knew that this was going down. Let that breathe, run it back. This keeps continuing to happen going forward. You can go up all the way to things like child support and welfare. You can come forward all the way to things like today. Y'all remember Goldman Sachs said that they're going to do a stimulus package up to $1 billion to support black female businesses, but they didn't put the men in it. Now, who runs Goldman Sachs? White men? Uh-oh. Who runs the government that says, we'll give you more money if you kick the men out of the household? White men? Uh-oh. Who came up with the idea that a black woman is now a double quota, because not only are you hiring a minority, but you're hiring a female? White men? Uh-oh. Who gave access to black women to all these government jobs? White men? Uh-oh. Who do you think promoting all these black women to high places in businesses? White men? Uh-oh. Now, I'm not taking away the credit. Obviously, there's some black women who just grinded their way up. They had nothing to do with this social contract. But rather they used it directly by sleeping with a white man, or they just benefited from it indirectly by being a double quota, or by using the Goldman Sachs money, or by being a house Negro, or by getting the welfare check for kicking their man out of the house. They still benefited. See, the reason that black men and white women are the most hated interracial relationship in America is because the idea is a black man is not supposed to have access to the white woman at all. The white woman is not even supposed to desire the black man, but the problem is they didn't account in their social contract for human nature. White women desire black men sexually, and the only thing that really stopped them before from acting out even more on those desires, which it never really stopped, because a lot of the masters' wives would also have fairer skinned children. Unfortunately, they would then claim that they were raped, and a lot of times the man who conceived the kid, who the master's wife actually wanted to conceive the kid with, would just be murdered. But just like the house Negroes and master was always going down, all right, master's wife would definitely sneak out in those fields and get a little BBC. But like I said, a lot of times when they got caught up, they would claim grape and he would just get killed. But see, now we're in a different era. Now we're in an era where black men can earn money, which is making this thing go out of control now, because now they're like, wait a minute, if he's on the same socioeconomic level with me, I could go with him and not have to worry about being provided or protected, because I can still get that, and I can get the BBC, that raw masculinity. Another statistical fact, and not my opinion, the more melanin you have, the more masculine you're seen as. That's how the human brain functions. The blacker of skin you are, the more masculine a female will see you as. Why do y'all think there's always a little slogan joke? See, there's a little bit of truth in every joke where they say light-skinned men are soft. There's always a little bit of truth in every joke. Psychologically, when you see a fairer-skinned male, you naturally look at them as softer and less aggressive. That does not mean that it's true. That's the way you biologically see it. And a lot of the times, it does tend to be true. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it does. I'm not here to hurt feelings. I'm just here to give facts. So the reality of the situation is, the more and more black men started to be able to earn and white women started to be able to earn, the less of a reason they really had to stay separate. To the point where now, not only do we have access to each other, we deal with each other, marry each other, fornicate with each other, and conceive kids with each other at a higher ratio than black women and white men do. Which white men can't stand, because not only do they not like the thoughts of us having access to their women, they also don't like the idea, and this is another gem. I told y'all we're going to go real deep. The best gems come to those who stay to the end. I repeat, the best gems come for those who stay to the end. They also don't like the idea of their race possibly being wiped out, because they know that the majority of the time, if a white woman has a child with a black man, that kid is going to come out what? Colored. I said this to you guys before, and I'll say it again. National Geographic already dropped a magazine about a decade ago where they said by 2050, the majority of the country will be colored. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be black, but they will have colored skin. Rather it be because they're Hispanic, rather it be they're mixed. Like in California, they're just mixed with a bunch of stuff. They won't be white is my point. White nationalists know this. Nick Fuentes knows this. Just Pearly Things got in trouble for agreeing with Nick Fuentes about this. It's in National Geographic. Someone will come in the comments and be like, that's not true. Yes, it is. Look it up. By 2050, the country will be majority brown-skinned people. White people will be the minority. White men know that this is coming and they do not want it to happen. This is why they made their social contract. This is why they started castrating and butt-breaking black men. This is why they've limited black men's access to resources and given them to the black women, because they've done everything in their power to try to make black men less appealing to white women. The problem is, we got the BBC, we got the raw masculinity and the physicality, and black men are Very, 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 very resistant men. Black people as a whole is a very resistant race. We're very resilient. We'll find a way. We still found a way to make money. Rather it be through music, rather it be through sports, rather it be through hustling. We still found a way to get it. And as soon as we find that way to get it, here comes the Beckys. They coming. They coming. At this point, there's nothing they can do to stop it. Other than hate. Other than hate, put little worms in the air and try to break it apart. And the reason black women want to stop it is because the reality is they were supposed to be able to fall back on black men when they were done gaining resources from white men. Because they know that those white men aren't going to marry them at a high ratio. And if black men aren't there waiting for them when they're done extracting those resources from the white man, where they supposed to go? Like they said in the one video, if we can't go to Bella Noche's, where do we go? So the black men are married to the white women, or even if we're going overseas, it leaves no one to marry the black women. It leaves no one to marry the black woman. See, this ain't even about Bronny James. This is deeper than Bronny James. When they see a successful, strong, educated black man with a white woman, they say, damn, there's not that many of them and we're losing them. And instead of changing their attitude, instead of valuing the black man, instead of throwing themselves at them like the white women do, like Peyton did, they just try to shame us from talking to them. See, white men put obstacles in the way to try to stop us from talking to them. Black women just try to shame us from talking to them, saying we don't like our mama and all this other BS. But the reality of the situation is if you put a black man and white women in proximity to each other and they are on the same social economical level, they're going to hook up most of the time. So until black women embrace competing against that, it's going to be a problem. And the funny thing is, black men still marry black women the majority of the time. 88% of the time, actually. But the problem is, every black man they lose, they're the last choice of white men. It's not my opinion, this is the fact. Black women are the last choice of white men. They're the last choice of Hispanic men. They're the last choice of Asian men. If an Asian man can't get an Asian woman, he's getting a white woman. If a Hispanic man can't get a Hispanic woman, he's going to go for a white woman before he goes for a black woman. If a white man can't get a white woman, he's going to go for an Asian woman or a Hispanic woman before he goes for the black woman. The problem is, a white woman's second choice is the black man. Not even the Asian man. Not the Hispanic man, it's the black man. And guess what? The Hispanic woman's second choice is the black man. We're only the last choice of Asian women. That's it. We're the first choice of black women, the second choice of white women, and the second choice of Hispanic women. Black women are the last choice of everyone but Hispanic men. They're the third choice of Hispanic men. Because Hispanic men go Hispanic women, white women, then black women before Asian women. They're the last choice of everyone else. So even if only 12% of us lead, if that number goes any bigger, we're in trouble. And we all know the vast majority of black men don't even get married. So even when we say 88% of black men marry black women, how much did that really matter when the majority of black men don't get married? So every Bronny James, every athlete, every Michael B. Jordan, every entertainer they see with a white woman, they lash out because not only is this not supposed to happen, but the most single group of women in America, which is the black women, loses yet another man. Makes it that much harder for them to have a real family and not just get bribed by somebody and end up a single mother. And that's the real reason why white women and black men are the most hated interracial couple in America. All facts, very little opinion. There is some of my theory in here, but it's all supported by fact. Whoo! All right. So that's my thoughts on that. Y'all absorb that in. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do not say nothing stupid. I will delete the comment. If you're going to argue against this, that's fine. But you better have some damn statistical data. You better not be talking out your ass. I want to see some facts in your rebuttal. But I'm always open to dialogue. Either way, I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.